Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And I like to work with lenses. And this time I will show you how you can fix the very oily, if there is very sticky aperture blades in Minolta MC Rokkor-PF. It's a 1.7 aperture and 85 millimeter. So let's have a look inside. This nice old lens, which actually looks pretty good, in good shape, and I mean, very good lens. But it has a problem. At least if we set it down to something like, we set it to 22 aperture. So let's do that and have a look inside here. Not really much happened. Even on the back we can see it's straight through it. And but if I move the lever here, you will probably see something happen. Yeah, maybe it's more on the back. I mean, the reflection is not too good, but I hope you can see it open. Put it down to 22 again, but it's way too slowly. See? I mean, the pictures would absolutely be way overexposed. It would not come to close the aperture. So you can see there. And there is actually a lot of oil on the blades. Maybe you can see the shiny surface from the aperture blades, which is oil. Yeah, but it's actually possible to fix that. So no problem. We just need some tools, a lens sucker, a small one, which is really good for blades. Some tweezers, some I made myself. This is good for blades, and this is good for springs, tiny springs. It's actually I drill a hole between the two legs, and it makes it very easy to actually unhook a spring or hook it on again. And a tweezer which I made for working with aperture blades, and this is just a straight one. Some dentist tool, which is also good. You can probably get them on the internet somewhere. Two different size of JIS. This is a Japanese lens, so we work with Japanese screwdrivers, crosshead. So 2 millimeter and a 2.5. And we also need a flathead screwdriver, which is 1.2 millimeter. Well, I like to work with the some Vise screwdriver. It could be whatever brand. And probably a 1 millimeter flathead screwdriver, which is good to unhook the C-ring, lock ring. Some rubber tools is also good. This is a 54 millimeter diameter. You probably can see it here. And it's really good. It's just, oh, you can hopefully see it. It's from the plumber section in the hardware store, which is quite sticky rubber. You can also use those famous rings, rubber tools from Japan Hop Tool. A lens compass tool is also good, and some of the biggest rubber tool is also good. Now we also need some Isopropylalcohol 99% and a lens blower, which is good. Now let's jump into it. and it's not that hard, so it shouldn't take long. We need to get in from the front, at least starting with that. So the retaining ring, you can see probably see the notch here, the outer notch, and it's also over here. And if, I mean only if, your lens retaining ring it's a bit tight, you can use the compass rubber, I mean lens tool, to just loosen it. There's not really any idea to unscrew it with this one. It's possible with the rubber tool. So if it's too tight, well, you could use some nail polish remover and simply add some here on the thread here, which is good, and in that way loosen it. Now we'll just do it as it should be if it's tight. So have a good grip and then unscrew it, and then use this rubber tool here, or we could use it will be a size in the number 5 here. Probably you can see it, and it fits actually over here, so I can just simply unscrew it. And in that way get it off. Now next thing is to unscrew the well, it's actually better so set it to infinity, and we need to unscrew the name ring. If it's tight, you can use the outer, which is 82.9 millimeter, and it goes over here, and then you grab on it and simply unscrew it, and then it's loose. That's it. So now we come more into the actually the front ring here, which is held in place by 3 screws, one there, there, and there. And to make it more easy and less dangerous, it's simply better to take off this ring and then unscrew the front lens group. So we'll do that. And it sits with 3 screws, and I use the 2.5 millimeter cross heads to get that loose. And it's good with a magnetized screwdriver, which is easy to make. Unscrew it. So there. And the last one. So. And then I can simply just pull it off. You can see already there is a lot of shiny oil here, oil film, which came from the actual focus helicoil grease that will over time separate from the grease. I mean the oil component will separate from the grease component. Now you see the front lens group here, which I can simply, well, I could use the rubber tool, the biggest one. If it sits too tight, we could also use the rubber tool here and simply grab on it, and if it sits a bit tight, so unscrew it, and so it's off. no problem here. Now we can actually look into the aperture assembly, and if I just try to, it sets to aperture 22, and I can simply push the lever here. You can maybe see there will be a lot, not so much here. It's mostly on the back side, but if I open it even more, you can probably see there is a lot of sticky oil, which will make the lens slower, I mean the aperture slower, and yeah, in that way get the overexposed pictures. Not so good. You see, the aperture assembly is held in place by 4 screws here on the front. And before I take anything apart, it's a good thing to make some scratch. Yeah, you get it. I will simply make some small tiny scratch. You will never see them from outside, but it will make it a lot more easy to when you assemble it again, especially the aperture inner part here. So simply set a mark here on the inner part here. Maybe we should also do something here, because it's your only backup where things should sit. So now I'm not sure, because I haven't been into that part of it here. I only took a sneak peek inside, but the ring here, this ring here, which will hold in place by 3 set screws here, there and there, it has to sit correct. I mean, not the ring itself, but it will make it easier if you also set a scratch here, right here, because the pointy end of the set screw is where I set my mark. And again, my reference mark is my index mark. So by also setting some marks up here on the aperture assembly, I mean the inner part assembly, I know exactly where it should sit when I put it back in again. And that's important, because the repair manual, if you can find one, does not tell anything about that. I mean, most of them does not say anything. Before I take that apart, I will also, I will take the 3 screws out, and then when I have unscrewed the mount and the back here, this ring here sit with 3 screws, and under that is 4 screws that hold the mount itself. And one thing to take care of, right here, down here, there is a tiny little spring, and there is a tiny little steel ball, which makes the aperture click. So if I just take off this ring here, the mount, and just take off the aperture ring, you will probably lose the steel ball. And maybe not the spring, but the steel ball will just fly away. So keep that in mind. And to make that sure, we can set the aperture to 1.7 and simply unscrew the back here first, so we can get the aperture ring off, just to have that apart, so we know where things should be. And then this ring can only sit in one position, because we have the lever here, and there's a cutout here also. So just lift it up, nothing will happen, and place arrange the parts where you can find them, put the screws inside the rings. It will make it a little easier, just my way of doing it. Now we have 4 screws here, one there, 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 and there. Unscrew those with the 2.5 millimeter, and so we will almost be there. So I also show how to take off the aperture ring and the steel ball, so we have that in correct place. Have a good grip here on the back, so the mount will just not fall off. And in that way you have a better grip on the aperture ring. Also keep in mind where things should sit. You have the little notch here. It goes close to the index mark here. Just it will make it easier when you reassemble it again. So out with that, and now keep 2 fingers on the aperture ring, and then you can lift out the mount. Maybe I should have set the length to 22, because it's different. Where some lenses it's easier to set them on 22, some are easier to set them on a full open, but we can just do it in that way. Put it on. Well, I think it will just be easier. So here it is. You can move this lever here just a little, and so there is also there's not really anything on the back here that is wrong. There's no oil film or anything. It's good. But if we look into here, you can also see there is some oil film. Now, what is really important here, you see all the notches here, those tiny notches here. It's actually where the aperture, it's half of the ring will be, and on the other half, it's where the steel ball is. So it's somewhere around here. Now, to get that off, you hold a finger here with the white dot, have a finger here and lift up, and that you can see you can lift out the ring, and at the same time you actually move it over here and still have your finger on here, because then you have a more controlled movement, so the spring and the steel ball will not just fly away. So it will do that here, and if we look closer into here, hopefully it's possible, you can see the little very tiny steel ball. So yeah, there is actually 2 tracks of where the little steel ball moves on. So keep that in safe place. Now where would my tweezer get? So put it where you can find it. So come on, little fellow. there, and the little steel spring here is, I think it's more safe to just take it out, because when we are done and reassemble, maybe the spring is away. Now we are more safe and can take out the inner part here. So set it to near end and unscrew the 4 screws. Remember the mark here with the index mark. So unscrew that. And should be quite easy to just take it out. So, and now we can just push out on the back here. Keep in mind where the index mark is, and just push it out. Oh, here we go. And now you can see a lot of shiny oil film here. And it's also in here. It doesn't really matter, but I will just wipe a little away of it because there's simply too much. It's also good to unscrew the back lens group, because we'll do that. So it will be easier to take out the moving parts here, which is also have a lot of oil film on. You can see it it's quite sticky. So unscrew that. It can sit tight. It was not tight here because I was in the lens before. That's quite a long thread, so it is off with that. And now we have the whole aperture assembly here. So if we do that and open it and simply push on it, you can see all the oil film here. So the ring here inside, and some of those parts are really way too sticky. So you see this brushing here, need to unhook that, and in that way have a grip on it so it will not just fly away, and don't bend it. Oh, for that. And then we can lift off the brass ring here. There's also some oil film in here. And next thing is you see this half moon lever here, which is connected to over here. There is a C-lock ring which we need to unhook, and for that I will use my 1mm and simply dig under it. You probably can see here, and gently lift it out. So now it's free, and where should I put it here? So then I need to unhook the tiny little spring that sits here. And for that, well, I can use my tweezer here, or I could use my special tweezer. And hopefully, sometimes it's not that easy, but but I think we'll make it. Whoa. I think they made those so it's a challenge to actually unhook a screw. Sometimes it's not that easy. But maybe if I use this one and gently lift it out, it will work. And then you can just take it over that pin here, and so it is. So I can, next thing is to take it off that pin here, and with a kind of spade, a very flat dentist tool here, we can simply dig under it and then it's free. And that way there's also oil film on it. It will be better. So now we have the naked aperture system, and you can see, whoa, really there's no need for taking off that because then you have to adjust it. But if you want to do it, you could actually make a scratch here on the end, so it will just have the shape of that, so I know exact position. And you could also make some scratch down here and here, so you know the exact position of that piece of metal, but there's no need to undo it. Now, to get into the actual aperture plates, there is sitting 3 set screws here. Those you can see here, there, there and there. And for that, a 1.2 millimeter, I guess, yeah, it works fine. And there is no need to unscrew them fully, just so they are, let's say, free of the inside here, so the ring in here can come out. So off with that here. Let's see what's happening. This is a more flat one. The other two screws, set screws, have a more pointy end. Okay, good to know that. So now, the set screw came out. Put it somewhere where it is in safe place. Well, here, quite sticky. Yeah, I think it's better to take it out. If they disappear, so out with that. That's the flat ended. Just make a little mark. Now, let's see, we have my mark, and then with a dentist tool I should be able to actually lift out the ring here. So like this, and next I should be able to, where is that, here, take out the, I will fully open it, so like that. I think it will be easier. I have my index mark here. Up here it should be where it is. And then I should be able to dig under here and hopefully loosen the ring, the plate here, where the blades is. And then that way lift it up. I mean, hopefully. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not so easy. But with a little help from two dentist tool, we'll make it. And that way. See, we can make it so. And now it's free. Let's see what's going on. Nah, it's not really so much in here, but it's more on the edge. There is some oil. Well, I'll just throw it into the isopropylalcohol, like we have here, and take out the blades. And there is also the ring here that moved the actual blades, but I think I'll just make it, let it be there as it is. So now I can move, I mean, hopefully I can move one blade out and in that way take that out. But it's quite sticky. Oh. Come on, little fellow. The blade, I can hear the blades are made of metal. So just put it in to here, and then the next one here. See, remember it has to, which direction it goes around. I mean, it's not possible to put it in the wrong way. So there shouldn't be any problem. You can see there is also a lot of oil here. And remember the pin, the tiny pin that actually moved the blades. You see, that pin down here, which is connected to the ring here, that actually moved the blade. Hopefully we can show it here. No, not really. It's actually good to set a mark here, just a permanent marker here, so you know where this part of the ring goes to. It will make it a lot more easy when you put things back in again. So there. And we can also take out that little ring. You see, it's here. And we can just take it out. Wow, a lot of oil here. So let's jump into it. And I will simply take some cotton buds with the isopropylalcohol and simply wipe inside here. So that, and we can also take this away. It's not enough, I know that. And so see, there's a lot of old dirty oil. but I will just go off the camera and clean it, this part, and then come back to when I wipe the blades. So see you soon. And now I have actually cleaned the internal parts here, so they look nice and fine, and also the inside of here where there were way too much grease and so, and those parts here, they're also clean. And also the front ring here looks nice and fine. So the only thing I need to do is actually cleaning wiping off the aperture moving ring here. I don't know what the real name is, but I call it that, because that ring, there was a lot of oil here on the edge, which will go against the inside of the aperture assembly. So it needs a good cleaning. And when it's done, it doesn't need any oil, not at all. No oil in the aperture system. It has to run absolutely dry. Oh gosh, it just hit the cloth. Oh, well, try again. That's the only thing to do. So it will be even more clean. Yeah, you know better. You probably have tried the same, but yeah, so it is. So now it's fine and clean. And then I can actually take the aperture blades. I will speed up the process because there are no need to see how slowly it goes. And the last one. Oh. So now that's all fine, and then I just need to take out this ring and put this aside somewhere. So, and now we can assemble it again. So that's easy. Now, the actual inner part, my index mark is here, and the little cutout notch here, where this ring with this pin goes through. So we can just let it fall into place and let it stay there. So now it's time to put in the blades itself, and just see how good it will go. So there, I think must be so. We can also try to use the tiny lens sucker here and put the blade in. Sometimes it's also a good tool. You see, the blades can only sit in one position. So hopefully so there. It's impossible for them to sit in a different way. Even if you try, it will not work. So you see, the point is the next last blade, the second last blade, come in. Now, to get the last blade in, sometimes it's difficult. Different in different lenses, but here it seems to be quite easy. So I simply put it under the first blade and then put it on the pin here, and here it is. Sometimes I have to take out the second last blade, pull it out so it hangs out here. But here is not a problem. I just dig under it. I mean, oh, you see what happened? It's a little magnetic, so be aware of that. And we can just put it in again. No problem with that. Just to be aware of that. Okay. We'll make it anyway. So there. And let's blade so they sit where they should, in a circle shape. Just you see the holes in each end of the blade. It's not just around. There was something on here. It's not round. It's a more oval shape. So now the next thing is, I have my index mark here, my scratch in the very beginning. So this ring has to go over here. So the small holes in this ring has to go over the small pin on each blade. So let's see how it will go. Actually, maybe I can just put it on like this, have the correct position, and just let it fall into place. And in that way get the blades into correct position. Can be a little tricky maybe. You see, they are not fully aligned here. So I can use this very pointy dentist tool and hopefully get into place there. This one is not so easy. So it's a little different made from other lenses. Maybe this one is better. Yeah. Now it comes into place, and I just need to make the last one. So you see, that's why the dentist tools is quite good for that. So if you can get in touch with those in a second-hand shop, maybe it's a good buy. So, yeah, here we are. So now all the blades sit in place. My index mark here, I will just align this ring into position and put on this ring here, which also have a mark. Where did it go? It is, where did it go? Oh, it's right here. So I can just put this on, put it into place here, just to make sure it is. Yips. Yeah, I set the little mark here inside here, the ring, so it's correct. So just lower it gently over, and then we need some set screw. This is the one of the pointy one. Then gently screw it in. They can be a little tricky, those tiny screws. Don't tighten it yet, just screw it in, and because the mark I set should sit correct. And let's see if we can make it there. Yeah, it was also the pointy one over here. So there. So things will not fall off at the moment. And you see, it's not necessary to tighten the screws too much, because then the ring will probably be a little out of alignment. Yeah, come on. So there. And now we are almost there. Just check how the alignment is, where the set screw sits correct. It seems like that. This ring has to sit correct. There. And it's fully aligned. So I can just screw this gently. The screw will hold itself in place. So that. So aluminium against steel, it works pretty good. Now let's see, will it work? Wow. So this is how the apertures work. So we just need to assemble the whole thing and say, yeah, that's good. So let's see. We need to take this ring here I mean this half moon shape, and put it on here over the little post over here, and put it full over the post. No oil. See, this is how it should work. And that's why it is also important, we can just take that, it's also important to clean out this part here and the part here that doesn't have to be any oil at all. So so there, the little C lock ring will come on. Where is it here? So that, and we can just push it in. So click, and it works. Now the little tiny spring has to come on, and it just put it over the pin, and the other end has to go over this pin here. And it should be quite easy, even without a special tweezer. But it will make things so much easier. Hopefully. So now just have that on, and with a pointy tool I can just put it over here. Oh, it didn't work. Sometimes they can really be annoying. So now it's in place. It doesn't really do much, but then take this ring here. It also have to be without any oil, because yeah, the aperture has to run dry. I mean, all the parts has to run dry. So put this thin ring on, and just go all the way around. This is just to show it. It's easier for you seeing with the camera. So now this is actually, wow, working really good. So next thing is the back lens screw will come on. So there. And tighten it good. So there, and we can fully close it all the way over here. That's fine. And then put it into the focusing assembly. You probably think, okay, yeah, what's next? There will be a lot of more oil separating from the grease. Well, one could actually just what do you say, disassemble the whole focus assembly and then clean it with petroleum or so, or lighter fluid, and then re-grease it with a new kind of grease. And in that way make it to a very good lens again. I mean that the focus is not really that sticky, but I think it's, well, a little hard maybe. But in this case, it's only about the aperture blades. So I can just put this in, and my index mark is here. My mark is here. So this one can only sit in that position. Put it in and find the holes. Maybe we should set it to near end. So then grab the 4 screws that hold that front section. Okay, now my cart was actually full, so that screw came in, and we could just continue with the rest of the 3 of them. Tighten it good. It's countersunk screws, so they will sit where they should. And the last screw came in. And now let's see. Yeah, I can actually just continue with the front part, put in whatever should be put in, and simply put in the lens element. Everything looks fine. And then put that in, go a little backward to catch this thread, click, and then screw it in. Then we continue with the outer ring here. So, and it should sit with 3 small, also countersunk screws. And so there, and the last one here. Now, then the actual retaining ring can come in. Go a little backward, and then we can just screw it in. So we use whatever tool we have. It could be the cones here, or my plumbing tool here, which is also good because it's more sticky rubber. So that's fine. And then the actual name ring, go a little backward, click, and we can tighten it good. So, and then the rest is on the back of the lens itself. So now we need to put in the tiny spring and the even more tiny steel ball. See, it's really tiny, but I mean we could add a little Liqui-Moly lithium grease. It's called LM50, which is also really a good grease. You see, it doesn't separate. And just need a tiny amount on the actual steel ball here. Not on the steel board, but you see on the spring. So it'll make it easier to actually stick the steel ball to the spring itself. So it will not just move around. There. I mean, just like adding glue on it. So, and now, as I mentioned earlier, the way we put in the aperture ring, but we need to set the lens to, the focus to infinity, because in that way it will make it a lot easier to put in the aperture ring. It has to go onto the, see the fork here, you can just move it a little. So, and then my index mark, my little spring, simply add the, and the hook has to go against like this. So add the ring onto the steel ball here, press it on, and just have to push this into place, something like that, and simply lower it over. Haha. Okay. Well, it didn't work in that case, so we can just try again. So it has to go closer to the index mark, index dot, closer than you maybe expected. So it's actually quite easier to put it over the pin first, so it sits where it should, and then put it on, press in the little steel ball onto it, and here we go. So maybe, but give it some glue, not glue, but yeah, some grease, so it'll stay in place. Now put on the mount. You can only sit in one position. This little fork has to go onto here. Hopefully you can see this little pin has to go over it and lower it over, and probably need to move it a little so it sits in place. So now let's see. Wow, snappy as it should be. Wow, that's really good. It's always a challenge to when it's free of oil. You see, it's not that hard to do, to fix. So tighten the screw on the mount good, not too much. You could add some thread locker, mild. It would be the Loctite 222 is the purple, or you could use the 243, the yellow, not yellow, the blue one. So on with this ring here. You can only sit in one position, and on with the smaller screws here on the back, catch the holes. Oh. So there. And tighten it gently. I mean, those small screws, there's no need to over tighten them. You have to have the feeling of when are the screws tight enough. There's no need to, has to have a kind of a feeling of, okay, it's there. So now we are done. Wow. See, this is how blades, I mean aperture blades should be snappy, no matter which position it is. I know it's very difficult to see because of the reflection of the lens, but you can see it works really good. It's full open, as it should. So wow. So that's it. It's actually done. Yeah, that was it. Hope you enjoy the content, and I will make more videos when I have the time. I've been quite busy, so I haven't had the time to do that much as I would like. But there are some more videos ongoing. Just need the time. So, but see you soon. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.